What is self-discipline? And why does it matter so much in our lives, especially in a world full of distractions, comfort, and instant gratification? Essentially, self-discipline is the ability to assert control over your impulses, emotions, and basic desires, even when those desires feel strong, tempting, or comforting in the moment. Being a disciplined person means doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of how you feel about it. And it means keeping the promises you make to yourself, staying committed to your goals, and acting in alignment with the person you want to become, rather than the person who seeks short-term pleasure. In simple terms, self-discipline is another word for self-control. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can build unbreakable self-discipline using 5 practical rules that you can start applying immediately after this video ends. Not just as motivational quotes or surface-level advice, but as real strategies that can genuinely change your habits, your mindset, and your entire lifestyle if you use them consistently and correctly. This video is divided into 7 main parts to make it easier for you to follow and apply, starting with why self-discipline is important, then moving into how to develop it through 5 specific rules, and finally ending with the well-known 21-90 rule, which explains how habits form and turn into long-term behavior patterns over time. So first, let's talk about why self-discipline is important. Because no matter what your goals are in life, whether they involve your career, your health, your finances, or your relationships, you will always need to put in consistent effort to achieve them. And without discipline, that effort simply does not happen, because you end up procrastinating, delaying, and choosing comfort over growth. Being able to delay gratification and resist short-term temptations is one of the most important traits of successful people. Because life constantly presents you with easy choices that feel good now, but cost you later, and hard choices that feel uncomfortable now, but reward you in the long run. This is also where the difference between being disciplined and being self-disciplined becomes important, because discipline that comes from external pressure is very different from discipline that comes from internal control. For example, think about the difference between working out alone and working out with a personal trainer. A trainer might help you with technique and structure, but the biggest advantage is motivation and accountability, because someone else is pushing you, watching you, and holding you responsible for showing up. But when you train alone, there is no one telling you what to do, when to do it, or how hard to push, which means the only person responsible for your progress is you. And that is what real self-discipline looks like. Being self-disciplined means you show up even when you don't feel like it. You do the work even when no one is watching, and you stay consistent even when motivation disappears, because motivation is temporary, but discipline is what actually sustains long-term success. The good news is that self-discipline is not something you are either born with or not. It is a skill, which means it can be learned, trained, and strengthened over time, even if you are starting from zero. So now let's move into the 5 rules that will help you build self-discipline in a practical and realistic way. The first rule is to remove temptations, because the easiest way to stay disciplined is to reduce the number of things that compete for your attention and energy. Your brain is naturally wired to avoid discomfort and seek pleasure, so when given the choice between doing something hard like studying or working, and doing something easy like watching Netflix or scrolling social media, it will almost always choose the easier option. This means that if you want to become more disciplined, you need to make distractions less accessible and productivity more convenient, which can be as simple as canceling unnecessary subscriptions, uninstalling social media apps, or changing your environment so that procrastination becomes inconvenient rather than effortless. For example, if you work from home and your desk is right next to your bed or couch, it becomes extremely easy to take a short break that turns into hours of wasted time. Whereas if you work in a library or quiet public space, you naturally reduce distractions and increase focus. The second rule is to stop waiting for the right mood, because the truth is you will almost never feel fully ready, motivated, or excited to do difficult tasks, and even if you do, that feeling will disappear very quickly. Your brain is not designed for productivity. It is designed for survival and comfort, which means waiting for motivation is one of the biggest traps people fall into. Instead of waiting to feel like doing something, you should learn to act first and let motivation follow, which is where the 3-second rule becomes powerful. Whenever you notice that you are procrastinating or avoiding something important, simply count to 3 and take immediate action without overthinking, because the longer you think about it, the more excuses your mind will create. The third rule is to set achievable and meaningful goals, because goal setting is not just about dreaming big, it is about creating direction and structure for your effort. The most effective goals are specific, challenging, and time-bound, because they push you beyond your comfort zone while still being realistic enough to pursue. When goals are too small, you feel unchallenged and bored, and when they are too big, you feel overwhelmed and discouraged. So the key is to find goals that stretch you without breaking you, and to attach deadlines that create urgency and accountability. When other people know your goals, you are also more likely to follow through, because social pressure and responsibility increase commitment. The fourth rule is to think long-term, because discipline becomes much easier when you understand the consequences of your daily actions. Every habit you repeat today is shaping the person you will become in the future, whether you realize it or not. And successful people are simply those who consistently choose actions that benefit their future selves rather than their present comfort. When you start asking yourself where your current habits will lead you in 3, 5, or 10 years, you begin to see that discipline is not about punishment. It is about self-respect and long-term self-investment, because every disciplined action today creates a better version of you tomorrow. The fifth rule is to progressively build a productive routine, because massive changes rarely happen overnight, and trying to completely transform your life in one day almost always leads to burnout. Real discipline is built through small, consistent actions repeated daily, such as waking up at the same time every day, planning your schedule, exercising regularly, and maintaining simple habits that build momentum. One powerful example is making your bed every morning, which may seem insignificant, but it creates an early sense of achievement that psychologically primes you for productivity throughout the day. Over time, routines become automatic, and when actions become habits, they require less mental effort and willpower to maintain. This is where the 21-90 rule comes into play, which suggests that it takes around 21 days to form a habit, 66 days to solidify it, and 90 days to turn it into a lifestyle. While research shows that habit formation varies from person to person, the core principle remains the same, which is that consistency over time rewires your brain and makes disciplined behavior natural instead of forced. Ultimately, self-discipline is not about being perfect or never failing. It is about building the ability to act in alignment with your goals, even when it feels uncomfortable, boring, or difficult. Because success is not a single event. It is a long-term process shaped by thousands of small decisions made every day. And if there is one thing you should remember from this entire video, it is that motivation gets you started, but discipline is what actually gets you results. Because only through consistent effort, intentional habits, and long-term thinking can you truly change your life and become the person you know you are capable of being.